Hello, and welcome to this short demonstration of Sage Intacct Starter Edition. My name is Jamie, and I'm a cloud accountancy specialist here at Ion. Today, I'll be taking you through some of the core features that you can expect with the Starter Edition. With this package, you'll have access to the following modules: accounts receivable, accounts payable, general ledger, order entry and purchasing, cash management, reports, and dashboards. This product is specifically designed to suit smaller, fast-growing organizations and is ideally suited to companies with 5 entities and those that will require no more than 5 business users. We found that this is the perfect software for businesses looking to migrate from Sage 50 or looking to progress from software such as Xero or Quickbooks. The Starter Edition provides an array of features and capabilities that will improve the way your company performs from day one. So to begin with, everything within the Sage Intacct platform is run through cloud technology. This software was effectively born in the cloud, so it wasn't created and then integrated with cloud technology afterwards. In terms of what this means, firstly, it provides the user with the ability to access their system from anywhere in the world through the internet. Anytime that you want to access the system, you can do so simply by logging in through a browser. Since there's no need for downloading software, it should come as no surprise to you that there is no need for users to update the system. Instead, the system is updated by system operators. There are quarterly updates that are implemented with no downtime for the users, so you don't have to worry about any unwanted interruptions regarding your access to the system. Due to Sage Intacct being at the forefront of modern accounting technology, there is a constant stream of new and innovative features being added to the system, many of which are specifically requested by its users through the Sage Intacct community. When it comes to running the finances of multiple companies through a single hub, Sage Intacct provides the ideal environment in which to do so. Due to Sage Intacct's multi-entity friendly design, the user can seamlessly navigate between multiple companies, eliminating the need to log in and out of different accounts. As you can see here, this is the home page of a Sage Intacct environment. What you can see in the top left of the screen here is what's known as the entity picker, through which you can slide into your different companies within the system. Currently, this is at top level, and this is effectively the umbrella under which all of your individual companies reside. You can choose to make changes here that will have an impact across all of your companies, or you can choose to slide in to different entities to make them at entity-specific levels. So the first feature of Sage Intacct that I want to discuss today is the dashboards. So let's go ahead and navigate into a dashboard. You can create as many dashboards as you want, and you can select which users have access to specific dashboards. As you can see here, there are all sorts of visual indicators that provide you with an overview of key financials. In terms of the methods of displaying data, you can have key figures, graphs, charts, and reports. On the left here, you can see what's called a smart link. This is incredibly easy to configure and generates a live feed from any chosen website. In this case, you are looking at a page on the Ion website. In the top right, we've also got performance cards. These are based on key general ledger accounts and can be configured to show any data that you wish that relates to an account group. Currently, these are set to pull through some key financial figures, and you can see that they've also been configured to compare each other to the prior month's figures. When it comes to reports, you can either add a standard out-of-the-box financial report or any report or chart that you can create within the system. So up here, we've just got a standard bar chart, and further down, we can see we've got a profit and loss looking at the 12-month history, or we can look over to the left here and we've got a standard detailed balance sheet. From the dashboard, you can actually navigate through a report and click into a specific account group. So here we can see in the profit and loss report, we have all of our different accounts running down the left. And we can quite easily click in, and it will provide us with a pop-out window which will then break down this account and all the figures that make up the overriding figure. And we can then go one step further, and we can even click into these individual figures and then see a transactional breakdown of exactly how that number is created. So it's important to highlight here that you can actually access a lot of really useful information here right from the get-go, right from your home dashboard. Another side note is that you can also have this set to be your landing page, so that every time you log into the Sage Intacct system, this will be the first screen that you see. Another interesting feature of a Sage Intacct dashboard is the AP purchase invoices list here. You can have all sorts of different information displayed through a list. You can even have the different approvals that are still waiting to be confirmed. This is especially useful if you are someone who is a key decision maker within the company, and if you would need to be notified when a new approval comes through, you can have it displayed here so that you can then go ahead and make the decision where and when you need to. When you consider that each user can have their own personalized dashboard with no limit to the amount, the combination of usability with the level of customization available makes dashboards an incredibly useful tool. You can also define specific user groups that have access to certain dashboards, meaning that you can ensure that staff members only have access to the data that is relevant to them. As for the layout of the dashboard, it's as simple as dragging and dropping things exactly where you want them to be. So you can see here, if you just want to rearrange, you can do that in a matter of seconds. And when it comes to adding new components, you can just use the plus button up in the top right corner of the screen. Here, you're provided with your different component types. So say we wanted to choose a report. We're then given some other options, and mainly we can choose the actual report source. And then underneath here, where we select the specific component, this is where you'll see your list of reports. This can be ones that are built as standard and come as out of the box with the system, or they can be ones that you have created and customized yourself. So now I think it's time to take a look at some of the day-to-day functionality of Intacct. To do this, we're going to switch into an entity. In this case, we'll go into the United Kingdom. So a key driving force behind the global uptake of Sage Intacct is its ability to boost the efficiency of a company's processes. In this instance, we're going to look at how easily a user can navigate through a standard purchasing workflow. So to do that, we'll go into the application picker. Down here, we've got purchasing. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how we can progress from a purchase requisition, which you can see here, to a purchase order, and then eventually to a supplier invoice. So these different transaction definitions that you can see here, these can be configured with advanced workflows in the sense that you can then create your own transaction definitions and create your own workflows that you want to follow. What we're going to do is we're going to just start off by going into the purchase requisition screen. So here we're given a list of purchase requisitions that already exist. When we then go into add, we can now see what's known as the standardized format of a transaction screen within Sage Intacct. This standardized format makes it much easier to get comfortable with using the system, as it's something that you'll see across a whole range of different transactions. Of course, they'll have some slight differences, but you should feel relatively comfortable with all of them once you get comfortable with one of them. So we can see here that we've got the transaction date, and then what you should notice is that when I pull through a supplier, there will then be the supplier's details automatically populated for us. Further down, we've got our payment terms. These can be configured and customized to be a set of payment terms that suit you and your business's needs. Then further down, we have a few different options here. Something that's really nice is the option to add an attachment, and you can do this on almost every transaction type within the system. And this just makes it very easy for people to utilize supporting documents throughout your different processes. You can also see down here, we've got some of the dimensions that are available as standard to Intacct users. So here we've got location, we've got department, employee, and we've got class. So I think we should talk about dimensions just briefly, as these are one of the really exciting features of Sage Intacct, and they provide you with a really strong level of analytical power. So effectively, dimensions are used to identify trends, spot issues, and provide general insights into your business. So departments, for example, are very commonly used, and by tagging transactions with a department, you are then able to break down spending or earnings via department. So you can see here, we've just got a standard set that are created within this demo environment. And it really is as simple as, if this is a sales transaction, we can then go ahead and mark it as that department. There is a dimension here, which is known as class. And this is the only dimension that actually isn't tied to anything when you initially get your system up and running. I tend to think of it as sort of a placeholder. So class is there in order to be user defined. So you can effectively create a purpose for it and then rename it accordingly. As standard, you are given 7 dimensions which can be repurposed if you are in need of customizing the different tags that you would like to have on transactions. When I say that you get 7 as standard, that means that you can add extra. However, this does then incur more costs. However, this is something that is very uncommon, and in most cases, users find that their needs are met through combining just the standard set of dimensions. So let's go ahead and we'll just fill in the necessary pieces of information. So we don't have to tag these dimensions. However, it is worth mentioning that there are things such as smart rules, which can be implemented. For example, if you wanted to have a rule set that every department transaction, or every transaction that was tagged with the sales department, if you wanted that to then require an employee to be tagged with that transaction, that's something that can be configured through platform services. So we'll just pop in a price here, and then that should be everything done. So we can go ahead and click post. So now we can see our transaction has been created. You should also note that the state is pending, and that's simply because it is awaiting its conversion. So when I click convert here, you can see we've got 2 options. We've got a purchase order and a purchase order inventory. The reason we can see these options is because the purchase order transaction definition and the purchase order inventory definition have been given the ability to be created from a purchasing requisition. So let's go ahead and convert this to a purchase order. As you can see, the system has pulled through all of the relevant information that we had previously entered. However, if you need to, you are still able to then make an amendment to the transaction. And if we're happy with everything here, then we can go ahead and simply post this. So you can now see that the purchase requisition has been converted into a purchase order. And again, this is the exact same process that we've just been through. We can then convert our purchase order into a supplier invoice. And just like that, you can progress through the entire workflow. Workflows work in the same way through order entry. So once you become familiar with the process, you will be capable of navigating through the workflow with AR and AP. Okay, so now I want to move on to the reporting aspects of Intacct. So in order to do this, we will go into the report center. So this is displaying all of the out-of-the-box reports that are made available straight away because of the fact that Intacct uses what's known as a quick start template. The quick start template is based on assigning your accounts to a variation of different categories. And by doing this, it means that Intacct will automatically get your accounts all in order, get them categorized and assigned to account groups, which means that you can then view them in reports in the correct format straight away. Of course, here you can still create your own account groups and you can customize them. So even if you do use a quick start template, that does not mean you are locked in to using a specific set. You've always got the option to change further down the line. So even though this is your set of standard reports, you can, of course, at any time go in and create your own reports. You tend to be able to get a lot of what you need through the financial report writer, which is what we're going to have a look at. However, there is also the custom report writer, which, when combined with the capabilities of the financial report writer, they tend to be able to meet almost any needs of a company with regard to reporting. So firstly, let's have a look at a standard profit and loss detailed report. So you can see here we're given some prompts. This is something that allows you to make the use of your different dimensions that you've got set up. And you can also, when creating a report, you can choose the different prompts that you're given here. In this case, what we'll do is we'll just select the location as the United Kingdom, click OK, and there we have it. So it's worth discussing how quick and easy that was, how much detail you're actually provided with here. And again, this is something that is fully drillable. So we can select a figure. We can then look at it on a transactional basis. And then if we want to get really in depth and see the different details, or even in this case, the different line details of a transaction, then that's something that you can do within a matter of clicks. So now let's link this back to what we were talking about with dimensions. So if you remember that this is a standard profit and loss detailed report, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to find the profit and loss detailed report by department. Again, we'll just select the United Kingdom. And then here, we're given effectively the same report. However, it's now been broken out into the different departments that we have. So this is where you can see the capabilities of a dimension. And this is just one, which is worth bearing in mind. And we can, if we wanted to, we could break this out by multiple dimensions all at once, or we can even create what's called a dimensional structure. So at the moment, what we're seeing here is we're seeing your account groups that are made up of different accounts on the left. However, we can chop and change between having an accounts-based report, or we can have a dimensional-based report, which means we could have our different departments running down here, or it could be locations or employees or any of the standard dimensions. Now, because we're in and looking at the United Kingdom specifically, obviously we are just seeing those figures. However, if we were to run this report from top level, then given that the entities would all be using the same currency, Intacct would actually go ahead and carry out multi-entity consolidation without you having to do anything. You would simply see figures here that were a combination of all of your different entities. And lastly, whilst I've already mentioned the ease at which you can create reports, you can also automate their creation to go one step further. So if we go back into the report center, we can see here that we've got more actions next to each report. If we click into here, we can go into schedule. Then we can select some predefined filters. We can select a start date, an ending date, and then we can also choose how often we want the report to be generated. Another interesting feature is that you can choose whether it be stored within Intacct, stored within cloud, or even just emailed to a designated email address. So that brings us to the end of this brief look at the Sage Intacct Starter Edition. So here we are able to progress from understanding a client's initial requirements to having them completely set up with their own Sage Intacct Starter Edition within 4 weeks. If you'd like to find out more about Sage Intacct Starter Edition, then please don't hesitate to contact us so we can discuss your requirements and understand if the Starter Edition is right for you. Thank you very much for watching.